2 weeks before our wedding, my fiancée vanished without a word, just disappeared to party with her ex. No warning. No apology. So I stayed silent, and made a plan she never saw coming. What happened next? Let's just say, her dream life turned into an absolute nightmare. It all started like a normal day. I woke up, rolled over to her side of the bed, and it was cold, untouched. I figured maybe she went for a jog or ran out early to grab something. Nothing to panic about, at first. But after I brushed my teeth and noticed her side of the bathroom still looked exactly like it did last night, that's when I got this strange feeling in my gut. She hadn't been home since the evening before. I tried calling her. Straight to voicemail. I sent her a quick text, "Hey, where are you? Woke up and you weren't here." No reply. Hours went by. Still nothing. Now I was getting anxious. Jenna always let me know where she was. Even if she was just going out for coffee, she'd shoot me a quick message. But now, her phone was off, and my mind was racing. Was she okay? Did something happen? I called her parents, hoping maybe she dropped by their place. Her mom sounded just as worried as I was, she hadn't heard from Jenna either. Her dad was confused too, said she hadn't mentioned leaving town. That's when the panic really kicked in. If her own family didn't know where she was, this wasn't just some misunderstanding. Next up, I called her friends. Crickets. A few of them even left me on read, which honestly just made my blood boil. These were the same people who couldn't stop talking during dinner parties, and now suddenly they had nothing to say. I was losing it. By evening, I was pacing laps around the living room. Should I call the cops? What if she'd been in an accident or something? I barely got any sleep that night. My phone never left my hand. Every buzz or ping made my heart race. But none of them were from her. Around 4 in the morning, half dead from exhaustion, I opened Instagram just to distract myself. I was scrolling aimlessly, until I stopped cold. There it was. A photo. Her college friends, all packed into some bar, drinks in hand, laughing like they didn't have a care in the world. And there, front and center, was Jenna. Smiling like she didn't just vanish from our life. My stomach dropped. I stared at the photo, praying I was mistaken. But it was her. No doubt. I tapped on the location tag out of curiosity. Spain. Yeah, Spain. My fiancée, the woman I was supposed to marry in 2 weeks, had gotten on a plane and flown across the globe without saying a single word to me. I sat there frozen. It didn't feel real. It couldn't be real. But there she was. Smiling like she hadn't just torn my world apart. No call, no note, no, "Hey, I'm flying to Europe." Just radio silence. I was livid. Who does that? Who disappears like that without saying a word to the person they're about to marry? I shot off a message instantly, "I know where you are. Get on the next flight home, or this wedding's off." I didn't care if it sounded harsh. She left me no choice. Then I followed it up with a longer message, pouring my heart out, telling her how crushed I was. But of course, no reply. Her phone was still off. I lay awake for hours, just staring at the ceiling, running through every memory, every little moment between us, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. The next day, her parents called again. They wanted to know if I'd heard anything. I told them what I found, and they were just as stunned. Spain? Her mom gasped, her voice cracking. Her dad just muttered something under his breath about her damn friends. They said they'd try to reach her, but I wasn't counting on anything. By that point, the sadness had faded. All that was left was rage. The woman I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with had chosen sangria and selfies over commitment and respect. And honestly, it wasn't even about the wedding anymore. It was about what it meant. That evening, she finally called. Her voice was calm, casual, like nothing had even happened. Hey, she said, light and breezy. I didn't let her finish. Do you even understand what you've done? I snapped, my voice shaking. You vanished. I thought something horrible had happened. Do you have any idea how scared I was? She let out a sigh, annoyed. Like I was overreacting or something. It's not a big deal, she said. You're making it sound like a tragedy. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She went on to explain the whole thing was a surprise trip her college friends had planned. Apparently, they told her about it last week, and everything was already booked. She didn't want to waste the money, so she decided to go. I asked why she didn't just tell me. Because I knew you'd freak out, she said. I just needed this. I deserved it. I haven't done a girls' trip in years. Freak out. That's what she called this. I was too stunned to yell. I just asked, what about our wedding? Did that even cross your mind? She brushed it off. I'll be back in time. It's only 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks. Relax. That word pushed me over the edge. I told her flat out, if you're not back by tomorrow, there won't be a wedding to come back to. You know what she said. And since your aunt already told you I'm staying, deal with it. Then, click. She hung up. I won't pretend I handled it gracefully. I was fuming. I spent the rest of that night pacing the house, stewing in my own frustration. I kept picturing her laughing it up in some loud Spanish bar while I was stuck here, sorting through the wreckage she left behind. The more I thought about it, the more my jaw clenched. That's when I decided, I wasn't waiting for her anymore. The wedding was off. If she wanted to dance and drink her way through Europe, fine. But she wasn't going to party her way back into my life like nothing happened. The next morning, I woke up feeling like a shell. Barely slept. My mind kept replaying every word from that phone call on a loop. It was wild. Just a few days earlier we'd been laughing about cake flavors and arguing over seating charts. And now? I was lying there in bed, staring at the ceiling like I was in some nightmare I couldn't wake up from. When I finally got up, I grabbed my phone, hoping, maybe, there'd be a message. Something. An apology. Nothing. No missed calls. No texts. Not even a lazy, hey, you okay? Deep down, I already knew she wasn't going to reach out. Still, I opened Instagram again like some kind of emotional masochist. And boom, there it was. More pictures. More smiling. She was at a beach now, drink in hand, arm wrapped around one of her friends like this was the best vacation of her life. She looked free. Like none of this even existed. I wasn't even jealous anymore. I was just mad. Mad that while I was losing sleep and unraveling emotionally, she was soaking up sun without a care in the world. She didn't care about me. Or about us. That much was clear. So I stopped waiting. First thing I did was text our wedding planner, we need to talk. Even typing that felt surreal. Like I was stepping into someone else's life, canceling someone else's big day. She responded quickly, probably assumed I needed to swap out a centerpiece or fix the guest list. Yeah, no. Next, I sat down and started writing a message to all our guests. It took me forever just to find the right words. I kept writing and deleting, unsure how much to say. Finally, I typed it out and hit send. Hi everyone. I wanted to let you know the wedding has been cancelled. Please don't reach out right now, I just need some time to process. Thank you for understanding. That was it. No explanations, no drama. Just the facts. Once the message went out, my phone lit up. A wave of sympathy flooded in, so sorry to hear this, let me know if you need anything. But of course, some folks needed details. What happened? Are you alright? I didn't answer. I wasn't ready to unpack all that. Not yet. By midday, the news had made the rounds. Her parents called, clearly shaken. "What's going on?" her mom asked, her voice cracking. "Why are people saying the wedding's cancelled?" So I told them. Everything. From the moment she ghosted me to the call where she basically told me to suck it up. I even mentioned the beach selfies and the tone-deaf vacation posts. Her mom cried. Her dad just muttered something about her needing to grow up. They promised they'd talk to her. Try to get through. But I didn't have high hopes. If she didn't listen to me, why would she listen to them? That night, she tried to call again. I let it ring out. I wasn't in the mood for another round of her excuses. She followed it with a text. "Please answer. I just want to talk." I didn't reply. The next morning, I started making the hard calls, canceling the venue, the florist, the photographer. I braced myself for pain, but honestly, it was a relief. Every call I made felt like I was slowly reclaiming pieces of myself. The wedding planner was kind. "I'm sorry to hear this," she said. "Let me know if there's anything I can do." The vendors? Not so much. A few of them hit me with brutal cancellation fees. It stung, but I figured I'd deal with the financial fallout later. Once all the arrangements were off the table, the only thing left to do was pack up her stuff. That part was rough. I didn't want to dwell on anything, so I moved fast, boxed up her clothes, her books, even those dumb little trinkets she insisted on keeping on the coffee table. All of it went straight into the spare room. Out of sight, out of mind. That night, her parents called again. They'd finally gotten in touch with her. They said she was upset. Said she wanted to come home. Her mom pleaded, "Please, just hear her out. She loves you." But love? Love isn't enough. If she actually loved me, she wouldn't have disappeared in the first place. I told her parents flatly, "She can come home, but she's not coming back to me." 2 days later, she showed up. I saw her car pull into the driveway, trunk full of luggage. She walked up and started knocking. Over and over. "Please," she called through the door. "Let's talk. We can fix this." Her voice cracked. And for a second, just a second, I almost opened that door. Almost opened that door. Almost. But then I remembered her voice during that phone call, so casual, so dismissive. I saw her laughing in those Instagram stories again in my mind, telling me to just deal with it. So I stood behind the door and said, loud enough for her to hear, "I already told you, the wedding's off. You made your choice." And that's when she broke down. Loud, gut-wrenching sobs. The kind that stick in your chest and make it hard to stay angry. Hearing her cry like that, yeah, it hurt. But I couldn't let her back in, not after everything she'd done. Eventually, I heard her footsteps retreat, and I stood by the window, watching her drive away, tears streaming down her face. Part of me felt lighter, like I'd finally let go of something that had been weighing me down. But another part of me, it felt like something had been ripped right out of my chest. That night, my phone blew up all over again. Her friends, her family, even a few people we both knew from work or mutual circles, flooded my inbox. "She's really sorry," they said. "Don't you think you should talk to her?" But I couldn't. I just couldn't. Maybe not ever. After she left, the reality started to hit me hard. The wedding wasn't postponed. It wasn't on hold. It was done. Cancelled. And so was everything we had. At first, I felt this weird sense of calm. Like, at least the decision was made. I didn't have to keep going in circles wondering what to do. But that peace didn't last. Suddenly, everything around me reminded me of her. The magnets she'd collected from every place we'd ever visited. Still on the fridge. Her favorite coffee mug. Sitting in the sink like she just used it. There was even that framed photo of us at her cousin's wedding, everyone saying how perfect we looked together. Now, it just felt like a bad joke. Like the apartment itself was mocking me. I thought about boxing it all up and taking it to her parents' place, but just the idea of facing her mom's tearful eyes made me feel sick. So I didn't. I packed everything into the spare room, shut the door, and told myself that was enough. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Wrong. The messages kept rolling in. Some people were kind, "I'm so sorry you're going through this," or "let me know if you need anything." But others? Not so much. A few mutual friends started getting bold. "You're really calling off a whole wedding over this?" one of them wrote. "She didn't cheat on you. She just went on a trip with friends. Don't you think you're overreacting?" There it was again, overreacting. That word kept coming up. And every time I heard it, I felt that same heat rise up in my chest. No. I wasn't overreacting. It wasn't about the trip. It was how she handled it. She didn't just hop on a plane. She ghosted me. She ignored every call, every text, every ounce of concern I had. And when I finally tracked her down, she acted like I was the one being dramatic. She knew what she was doing. So when one of her more persistent friends kept pushing, I finally wrote back, "She made her decision. Now she has to live with it." Her parents didn't back down either. They called me. Every single day. "Please talk to her," her mom would say. "She's devastated. She knows she messed up." Even her dad, usually the quiet one, tried to pull the guilt card. "You've been together 6 years. You're really gonna throw all that away over one mistake?" That line stuck with me, one mistake. But was it really just one mistake? Or was it the mask slipping? A glimpse into how little she actually valued what we had. I couldn't stop thinking about what she said during that call, about needing more experiences before settling down. Like our life together was some boring sentence she had to delay. That cut deeper than anything. And then, of course, my own parents got involved. I don't know if Jenna's family reached out to them, or if word just traveled fast, but one night I got a text from my mom, "We need to talk." So I called. She didn't waste time. "What's going on?" she asked. "Why is the wedding off?" I tried explaining, honestly, I did, but she kept cutting me off. "Can't you just forgive her and move on?" she said. "People make mistakes. You're not perfect either, you know." That one hit me hard. Of course I wasn't perfect. Nobody is. But this wasn't about forgetting an anniversary or fighting over the thermostat. This was about trust. About disappearing 2 weeks before our wedding and acting like it was no big deal. "It's not the trip, Mom," I said. "It's how she handled it. She didn't respect me. She didn't respect us." She sighed into the phone. "I just think you're making a big mistake." And that was the end of that conversation. But the final straw? That came a few days later. I got an email. Yeah, an email, from Jenna's friends. Not a text. Not a DM. A full-on email. Guess they figured I'd blocked them everywhere else. It started out like an apology. "Josh, we're really sorry things ended up like this." But as I kept reading, I realized it wasn't an apology. Not really. It was an attempt to shift the blame onto me. She was really looking forward to the trip, they wrote. She's been stressed about the wedding, and we thought it might help her unwind. We didn't expect you to react this way. React this way? Like I was some unreasonable man-child for being upset that my fiancé dropped off the face of the earth. And then came the worst part, they admitted it. They told her to ignore me. "When we told her not to worry about your texts, we figured you'd cool off once she got back." Cool off. They really thought I'd just sit tight, keep planning the wedding, and welcome her back with open arms after all that? I didn't even finish the email. Just deleted it. Blocked the sender. Done. By the time Friday rolled around, I'd had enough. I was done. I sent a message to Jenna's parents letting them know she could swing by and grab her things. I wasn't about to play delivery guy, and I sure as hell wasn't going to hang around for some dramatic, teary goodbye. Just don't send her over when I'm here, I wrote. A few minutes later, her mom was calling me. She sounded desperate. Please, just talk to her, she kept saying. She's a mess, hasn't stopped crying, won't eat, can't sleep. She needs to see you. I kept my voice steady and said, she needed to see me before she boarded that plane. That shut her up real quick. The following day, I got a text from Jenna, the first one since she'd come back. Can we talk? I just want to explain. But I didn't need any explanation. I already knew everything that mattered. I'm sorry, I replied, but it's too late. She never texted back. When she finally came to collect her stuff, I figured I'd feel some kind of relief, like closing a chapter. But watching her dad load box after box into their car, it hit me harder than I expected. My chest tightened in a way I couldn't explain. This wasn't the ending I imagined for us. We were supposed to be building a future together, sharing dreams, making plans, growing old side by side. But all of that? Gone, just like that. When everything was packed, her dad walked over and offered me a handshake. I'm sorry it had to end this way, he said. Yeah, I told him, me too. Jenna didn't say a word. She just got in the car and drove off. That night, I sat alone in the apartment, staring at the few things she'd left behind, photos, handwritten notes, souvenirs from the trips we took together. I couldn't bring myself to toss them, not yet. So I shoved everything into the closet and shut the door. The next few days were quiet, but not the peaceful kind of quiet. It was the kind that presses on your chest and makes the walls feel like they're creeping in. For the first time in years, I had nobody to message, no one to call. I couldn't even scroll through social media without stumbling across something that reminded me of her. Her friends, ones I'd already blocked, started trying new ways to reach me. A few mutual friends, the ones still riding the fence, tried to play peacemaker. Jenna really regrets it, they'd say. Jasmine had one conversation with her and thought that was enough to fix things. I told them all the same thing, it's over. Please stop bringing it up. But the pressure didn't let up. Friends I thought had my back started turning on me. One of them texted, so you're really throwing away 6 years over your ego? There it was again, ego. Like I was just some jealous control freak who couldn't handle his girlfriend having fun without him. But that wasn't it. It was about loyalty. It was about respect. I blocked that person too. My parents? They were even worse. Every single call turned into a conversation about Jenna. You should give her another chance, my mom said, for the third day in a row. She made a mistake, but she's young. You both are. She's not too young to know how to talk to someone, I snapped. Then my dad jumped in. Sometimes you've got to look at the big picture. Are you seriously going to walk away from 6 years over one bad decision? It wasn't a fight, I told him. It was a decision. And she chose to leave. They didn't understand. Honestly, I don't think they ever will. A week later, I dropped by their house to pick up some old things. My mom caught me in the kitchen and launched right into her usual routine. She's been calling us, she said. She's heartbroken. Don't you think you should at least hear her out? I took a breath, tried to stay calm. No, Mom. She's a good girl. You know that. She just got swept up in the moment. It doesn't mean she doesn't love you. That was it. I snapped. If she loved me, she wouldn't have done this. Simple as that. Mom looked like I'd slapped her. She didn't say a word after that. And when I left, I could feel something between us had shifted, for good. Some of Jenna's college friends decided to get involved again too. They messaged me from a new number. One just wanted to say sorry again for what happened, the message read. None of us meant for things to go this far. I didn't reply. They'd already shown where their loyalties were when they encouraged Jenna to ghost me and stay in Spain. Their apologies didn't mean a damn thing now. Still, they kept trying. She's miserable without you, one of them wrote. She'll do anything to fix this. Just give her a chance. I blocked that number too. The truth was, I wanted to move on. I wanted to wake up without feeling like my entire life had been flipped upside down. But every time I started to climb out of that hole, someone would yank me right back into it, mutual friends, her family, random people who barely knew us weighing in like they had any clue what was really going on. The only escape I had was work. I threw myself into it. Took every shift available, stayed late, worked weekends. It drained me, but at least it kept my head from spinning. I also started hitting the gym. Not because I was trying to win the breakup or show off some glow up, no, it was more basic than that. I just needed something to get me out of the apartment. At first it was just a time killer, but before long it became part of my routine. Something to focus on that wasn't her. 2 weeks after she picked up her stuff, I got another message, this time from her parents. She'd like to talk to you, her dad wrote. Just one conversation, she said, just for closure. That word actually made me laugh. Bitterly. Because back when she was packing her bags for Spain, closure was the last thing on her mind. She didn't care about how I felt when she ignored my messages or told me to just deal with it. And now, suddenly, she wanted to tie things up with a neat little bow. I didn't bother replying. A month later, I saw her. Total coincidence, I walked into a coffee shop and there she was, sitting by the window with her face buried in her phone. It was the first time I'd laid eyes on her since she came to grab her stuff, and it hit me like a punch. She looked worn out. Tired. Like life had aged her a little. I stopped in my tracks. Part of me wanted to turn around and walk right back out. But before I could make a move, she looked up and spotted me. For a second, everything froze. She gave a small smile and a wave. I hesitated, but my feet moved anyway. I walked over. Hey, she said quietly, barely above a whisper. Hey, I said back. We stood there in that awkward silence for a moment before she motioned to the seat across from her. Want to sit? So I did. We didn't bring up the trip. Or the wedding. Or any of the mess that tore us apart. Instead, we danced around the wreckage with polite small talk. She mentioned her new job. I talked about mine. It was strange, civil, even, but it felt like I was talking to someone I used to know. Like two classmates who hadn't seen each other since graduation. When I left, I didn't feel angry or heartbroken. Just hollow. That meeting made something crystal clear. I was never going to get the kind of closure I'd been hoping for. Not from her. Not from anyone else either. If I wanted to move forward, I had to accept that some things in life don't come with neat explanations. Some wounds don't scar over clean, they just stay open, and you learn to live around them. That's what I've been trying to do. After that encounter, Jenna was on my mind more than usual. Not because I thought we might get back together, those days were done. But because I kept replaying the last 6 years in my head, trying to make sense of it all. Where did it go wrong? Was there something I could have done differently? Was I being too rigid? Too unforgiving? Those thoughts haunted me. Especially at night when the apartment was dead quiet. I'd lie there thinking about the early days, how she laughed when we first met in college, those late-night talks about our dreams, how certain we were that we'd spend our lives together. 6 years of memories. And somehow, now, we were nothing more than strangers. About 3 months after the breakup, I started seeing a therapist. One of the few friends who actually stuck around through the mess encouraged me to give it a shot. At first, I brushed it off. "I'm fine," I told her. "I just need time." But time wasn't doing a damn thing. Every time I felt like I was climbing out of that hole, something would yank me back down, an old song, a text from someone who didn't know the wedding was off, even a smell that reminded me of her. It was exhausting. That first therapy session. I had no clue where to begin. I ended up blurting out, I was supposed to get married. I called it off. The therapist nodded, asked me to talk more. And once I did, everything I'd been bottling up, anger, guilt, confusion, it all came flooding out. By the end of that hour, I felt like I'd just run 10 miles uphill. Therapy didn't fix everything overnight, but it cracked something open in me. I started unpacking stuff I didn't even know I'd buried. And I realized a lot of my anger wasn't just about that trip, it was rooted deeper. The way Jenna had handled it all showed just how differently we saw our relationship. I saw marriage as a partnership, something built on honesty and respect. It felt like she was going through the motions, doing it because it checked a box. My therapist asked me one question that stuck: if this hadn't happened, do you think you would have seen those differences later on? I kept turning that over in my head. Maybe we would have gone through with the wedding. Maybe we'd have spent years together pretending everything was okay, only to fall apart later anyway. Maybe this mess, this heartbreak, was a blessing in disguise. Even if it didn't feel like it. So I started putting my energy into myself. The gym wasn't just a way to kill time anymore, I set actual goals. I began running in the mornings, something I never thought I'd do. I even signed up for a cooking class because, honestly, I was getting real tired of microwave meals and takeout containers. Work became my anchor. I took on every project I could, volunteered for the tasks nobody wanted. A few months in, I got a small promotion. My co-workers joked that I was becoming a total workaholic, and maybe I was. But staying busy beat sitting alone in my apartment, drowning in what-ifs. About 6 months after we split up, Jenna sent me a text. Just one. It wasn't anything big, just a short, "Hey, I hope you're doing well." I stared at it for a long while, not really sure how I felt about it or what to say. Part of me wanted to leave it alone, let it hang there in silence. But there was another part that felt like maybe I should respond, not to start anything up again, but just to recognize what we'd been through. So finally, I typed back, "Yeah, I'm doing okay. Hope you are too." She never replied, and honestly, I was fine with that. My parents and I still weren't on great terms. They'd gotten so wrapped up in the fantasy of Jenna and me being some dream couple that they refused to see how things had actually turned sour near the end. Every time I tried to talk to them about it, they brushed it off like I was being overly sensitive or just trying to cause drama. That stung. But after a while, I stopped trying to win their approval. I started spending holidays with close friends instead, and to tell the truth, it was a whole lot better that way. A year after the wedding that never happened, I noticed I felt lighter. Not exactly happy, but no longer carrying around the weight of everything that had gone wrong. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't stuck replaying old conversations or second-guessing myself. One time, I saw Jenna again at a friend's wedding. She was there with a new guy, and I had brought someone too. We caught each other's eyes once, shared a small polite smile across the room, but that was it, no words, no drama. Later that night, while I was dancing with my date, it hit me, I didn't feel anything. No sadness. No jealousy. Just, nothing. It was really, truly over. And looking back now, I can honestly say canceling that wedding was probably the smartest move I've ever made. It hurt like hell at the time, sure. It was chaotic, confusing, and it broke me in ways I didn't expect. But it also pushed me to face things I'd been avoiding for too long. Over the past year, I've figured a lot out about myself. I learned how to draw lines, how to speak up for what I actually need in a relationship. I figured out that sometimes, even if you've poured years into something, it's okay to walk away when it stops being right. And the biggest lesson? Sometimes, letting go is the only way you ever get to move on.